But tonight, we have an incredible lineup of artists who have all been inspired by this river. So coming to the stage is a prolific and acclaimed author, poet, and spoken word artist who has been referred to as the Bard of Vietnamese America. I like it. Bao Phi is his name. Was only 3 months old when his family fled Saigon and the Vietnam War to settle in the United States and eventually Minnesota. The word for river in Vietnamese is song. That has always struck Bao as beautiful. Song not only graced the title of his first published poetry collection, it is also the name he gave his daughter. He is a 2-time Minnesota Grand Slam champion and a National Poetry Slam finalist. He was named Best Author 2016 by Minneapolis Monthly and Artist of the Year and Author of the Year by City Pages in 2017 and 2018. Spurred by the desire to see greater diversity in children's literature and inspired by fishing trips he would take with his father as a child, Bao authored A Different Pond is his name, A Different Pond, his first children's book, and a 2018 Caldecott Medal winner. Please welcome to the stage, Bao Phi.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And thank you, Friends of the Mississippi, for inviting me to your birthday party. It's great to be here. I just have 2 short poems to read to you today, and I'll get out of your way. Both poems are about, oh, sorry, is that me? Check one, it's probably me. I'm always messing things up. Both poems have to do with water, and the first poem is about the ocean. I'm a refugee from Vietnam, you got a little bit of that. I was watching a nature documentary about 6 months ago, and in that documentary, they talked about a shipping container of bath toys that had made in China, washed off of one of those giant boats. And those rubber duckies floated for 15 years, and they started popping up on shores everywhere. And you know, of course, as a poet, my mind was blown, right? I was like, what does this mean? And I had to do all this research, and I went to see if it was really true. It totally is true. And I wrote this poem about it. This is called Adrift. Let's go ahead and assume this rubber ducky is yellow. What little science I know, its plastic skin invincible against salt water, but not the sun. We can only ask so much. Will it fade or brown? What I mean to say is I would want one of these for my daughter. Its internal clock set to the mercy of the currents that have been predictable for centuries. But mercy is not the word anyone would choose. Sometimes not making sense and floating are the same. Each wave is its own beginning and ending. Through international waters, you could have caused an incident. No one knowing you, never reaching the hands that hoped for you. Rough immigrant or free refugee, floating flagless, fading border, stamped with words, but not your name. Thank you. And this last poem I'm going to read is about the Mississippi. I remember learning how to spell the Mississippi by rote in grade school and repeating that rhythm until it drove my teacher crazy because I was so proud of it. And now I have a daughter here whose name's Song, and Song in Vietnamese means river. And the last part of it about floating on the Mississippi, actually Whitney Clark of the Friends of the Mississippi took my daughter and I on a canoe on the Mississippi for the first time just a few weeks ago. So that's the reference. This is a brand new poem. M-I-S-S-I-S-S-I-P-P-I. M-I-S-S-I, S-S-I, P-P-I. M-S-I, S-S-I, S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. M S I S S I S S I S S I P P I. and my delight at the staccato flow of the letters evaporated. This was over 30 years ago. I don't hold her ghost to grudge. How many times have I sat above that water, walked beside it, wondered about its history, all the while taking for granted I could spell its name? The first time I saw its tail was after Katrina, the wide water in New Orleans, the houses drowned, and yet Vietnamese ate trays of boiled crawdad, tipping skinny neck bottles of Tabasco, squeezed lemon slices over them until they bled out. Somewhere, some river is always running, and who chooses to run beside what river in what country, and who gets sent down them? Me and my teenage friends, we found a rotted railroad bridge, climbed over its barriers, the no trespassing sign, sat, our legs dangling over, but hugging the round cylinder iron guardrails, laughing with one another as the brown and white foam curled far beneath us. For many years, I thought if I ever had a child, I would name them Song, river. But in my language, which makes the word sound like a song, so I did, and she does, sound like a song. Just this past year, I learned of Bidote, the concentration camps, now a green field. In a canoe, my daughter and a teacher slowly sliced our way across its green-gray skin. We three, floating in history, water to some, blood to others, a part of everything, but belonging to no one. Thank you so much. Have a good night.